The New York Islanders scored 3 out of a possible 4 points when facing the 2 Stanley Cup finalists from a year ago this weekend. We've got that plus Mike Reilly's triumphant return to the lineup. All that and more next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you get new episodes as soon as they drop. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. I'm Gil Martin. I have been covering the New York Islanders for nearly 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 to the present day. So glad you could join us today to talk a little Islanders hockey, a dramatic weekend for the Islanders. They play both of the Stanley Cup finalists from a year ago. We'll talk about both games as they get 3 out of 4 points, and defenseman Reilly returns to the lineup for the first time since November 1st. We'll talk about that emotional return as he plays his first game since having surgery for a heart ailment. The Islanders had a great first period against the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers and a really good third period as well. But they were trailing 2-0 after the first 2 periods. And boy, did this team come alive in the third to earn a 4-2 win. And the good news is, regardless of how you look at it, that the Islanders aren't giving up. And they fought back and were able to earn a win by not quitting in this game. And you know, the first period, it was typical Islanders. You outshoot Florida 12-3, and you just can't put the puck in the back of the net. And so, 0 for 2 on the power play in that period. And it was just the same old frustrating thing. Yeah, the Islanders can go toe-to-toe with any team, but they just can't finish. They don't have the skill, etc., etc., etc. And it got worse in the second period. Just a minute in, the Panthers score a goal, Sam Reinhart, and then the Panthers power play scores less than 4 minutes later, and it's a 2-0 deficit. And you start to think, oh boy, this game is as good as over. Well, the Islanders did not allow that to happen. First, Mark Gatcomb, who has gone a while without a goal, but remains a hard worker. He scores his 4th goal of the season and gets the Islanders on the board. And then 2 goals in 17 seconds. Maxim Tsyplakov, another guy who has been struggling to put the puck in the net lately, he scores. And then Noah Dobson rips the game winner from the point, and Simon Holmstrom ends it with an empty netter. Overall, a determined effort by the New York Islanders, and that is what we need to see from this team. Look, the odds of the Islanders making the playoffs are very, very slim. And, you could make the argument, and I think it's a solid argument, that this team is better off getting a better draft pick, and winning may not be best for this team in the long run. But you don't want to see this team quit. And you want to see guys step up and prove, okay, assuming the Islanders do not make the playoffs this year, and it's unlikely that they will, what you want to see out of this team is guys proving that even if changes are made next year, and they, during the offseason, they darn well better be making some changes. You want guys to prove hey, I belong on this team next year. Tsyplakov, who is a restricted free agent at the end of this year, hasn't been playing as well lately. Talk about maybe he should have been benched, and he's been struggling in recent games, gets his first goal in a long, long time. It felt good to see Tsyplakov put the puck in the net and show, hey, it may not be a great season for me. I have 8 goals, and here we are in mid-March. But at the same time, a strong finish really puts an emphasis on his potential for the future. Noah Dobson, who got the game win. It's been a bad year for Dobber. Offensively, his productivity is nowhere near where it was a year ago. Defensively, he's regressed. He's playing poorly most of this season in his own zone. For him to come through and get the game-winning goal, for him to finish strong in the last 15 or so games, would just send a message, hey, I can do more and I will do more next year. Simon Holmstrom with the empty net goal, matching his total from a year ago, and you still have, 15 games to go. Can he get 5 goals in 15 games to earn his first 20-goal season? We'll see. But again, just show me the hustle. Show me the effort. The Islanders were the better team in this game in 2 of the 3 periods. And, in spite of that, they were behind 2-0 after 40 minutes. And it would be easy for the team to just say, hey, not our game, not our year. But they came back and they played a spirited third period. And I got to give them credit for that. I really have to give them credit for that. Can't blame Ilya Sorokin for the 2 goals that he gave up. One of them was just bad luck, plain and simple, as far as the way the puck bounced. The other one came on the power play, and the Islanders, got good goaltending from Sorokin and then just broke out. I just enjoyed watching most of this game. And that in and of itself is encouraging. And oh yeah, by the way, did I mention that it was the Islanders' 4th line in this game getting 2 of the 4 goals? Tsyplakov and Gatcomb both on the 4th line. You want to see, in fact, we've needed to see more of that all year long, where the 4th line just hasn't provided offense in any substantial way. 2 of the goals, in fact, 2 of the 3 non-empty netters. Great to see that line contributing on offense. And that's what you need. You don't need the 4th line to score every game. That's not their role. But to have them contributing and to do it a little more consistently than what they've been doing is very encouraging. And Tsyplakov right now on the 4th line, I think it's a good fit. It makes him play a little differently, work a little harder, and get back into, playing a simple game, which is what you have to do when you're in a slump. Love the 2 assists from Tony DeAngelo, and great to see Mike Reilly get an assist in his first game back. We'll talk more about Reilly a little bit later. Hero and GOAT of the game. The GOAT is easy. Special teams, special teams, special teams. The power play, again, just not getting it done. The penalty kill, giving up a goal. Special teams have hurt this team all year long. Changes need to come to the coaching staff on special teams, especially on the power play. Hero of the game, I'm going to go with the game winner from Noah Dobson. He also had 4 shots on goal in this game and 3 blocked shots. So Noah Dobson gets hero of the game, although there were a number of other candidates. But overall, great to see the Islanders come out, play a solid game, get the 2 points, and keep their slim playoff hopes alive. And look, it has to give you a boost of confidence to beat the defending Stanley Cup champions. So good win for the Islanders, dramatic comeback, third period comeback, and great to see. We've got more to get to on today's show. We'll break down the Islanders' overtime loss Friday to the Oilers, plus Mike Reilly's return. And for our Islanders' birthday of the day, well, one of the famous brothers who played for the Islanders from 1979 all the way through 1987. Let's see if you can guess who this is. All that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Factor. Eating healthy doesn't have to be complicated. With Factor, you get chef-made, dietitian-approved meals that are ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, so you can fuel your body without the hassle of cooking. Factor meals arrive fresh, never frozen, and with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences each week, you can customize your menu to fit your goals, whether it's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. I love how Factor keeps you on track with healthy, delicious meals without the time-consuming prep. The Korean beef bowl and creamy Parmesan chicken are some of my favorites. They taste homemade and take no effort. Factor also offers smoothies, breakfasts, and snacks, so you could always have something nutritious ready to go. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Friday, it was the Islanders and the Oilers, also a home game for the Islanders. And I got to say, the Islanders did not win the game, but they didn't play badly either. And, you know, outshot in this one, 35-25, and you're facing Edmonton's backup goalie in Calvin Pickard. But Ilya Sorokin, he shined. 33 saves in this game. And, you know, for the most part, the Islanders went toe-to-toe with a very skilled Edmonton Oilers team. But in the end, a little too much Leon Draisaitl. No shame in that. He scored both goals for the Oilers, including the overtime game winner. And how tough was it to watch that overtime? Because, look, you know going in that the team with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, that's the team that's going to have the advantage in a 3-on-3 hockey game. No way around it. The Islanders do not have the speed or the skill to stay with the Oilers 3-on-3. But the effort, what we saw in that overtime, at one point, Simon Holmstrom loses his stick. And, you know, at another point during that same play, Adam Pelech is hurt and can barely move, and Pelech ends up missing Sunday's game against Florida as a result of whatever lower body injury it appears that he suffered in this game. So it's really like you have one player with a stick who can move, one player without a stick who can move, and one player with a stick who can't move. And that's 3-on-3. And yet, during that particular exchange, the Islanders managed to get the puck, and Sorokin makes a save and holds on, and they, you know, bite the bullet and get past that with a very, very strong effort. And again, it's the determination. It's If the Islanders were to play the way they played against Edmonton in 60 of their 82 games, not expecting every team to play great every game, but if you give that kind of effort for the vast majority of your games, you're going to make the playoffs. You're going to win a lot more games than you're going to lose. Unfortunately, for Islander fans and for this team, the Islanders' effort has been uneven. And look, very often we have seen the Islanders play up to competition like the Panthers and the Oilers, and then we've seen them play down to competition and lose games against teams that they should be beating. So it really becomes a situation where you need this team to play consistently spirited, intense, clean hockey on a night in, night out basis. And look, having more talent up and down this lineup will definitely help. Getting this team younger, faster, and more skilled will help. But here's a key in my mind. The Islanders return to action Tuesday night against the Pittsburgh Penguins, a team below them in the standings. Will the Islanders give you the effort we need to see when they face the Penguins after giving you that effort in back-to-back games against the two teams that were in the Cup final last year in Edmonton and Florida? I am looking to see if that's what we get. As far as hero and GOAT of the game from Friday night, hero, I'm going to split between Ilya Sorokin, who kept the Islanders in a game that they were, outshot 35-25, and the goal scorer, Bo Horvat, who definitely, tied the game with a breakaway goal early in the third period, and to me deserves credit for that. So Bo Horvat, hero, along with Ilya Sorokin. And as for GOAT of the game, it's a tough one. But again, I have to go with special teams, which just continue to kill the Islanders time after time after time. You can't get the power play on track, and it is really hurting the New York Islanders. They have chance after chance after chance to try to get this power play going, and it just doesn't happen. And, here we are, again, less than a month left on the schedule for the New York Islanders, and they remain dead last in the league on the power play and next to last in the league on the PK. It has been hurting this team all year long. Islander fans do need some changes in the way the power play runs. I was expecting John McClain to be let go after last season. He stayed. The power play got worse somehow, and it is time. In fact, it is past time to to make some changes here and see what happens. So that is the situation. Islanders with a solid weekend where they get 3 out of a possible 4 points against these elite teams. And now, very happy that the New York Islanders are heading into this week still alive in this playoff hunt. We'll see if they can keep it going against Pittsburgh on Tuesday. We have got more to get to on today's show. We're going to talk about the outstanding performance by Mike Reilly, just to have him back in the lineup, what that means. We're going to talk about that. Plus, we'll have our Islanders birthday of the day coming up next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. That's wonderfulpistachios.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Mike Reilly made his return to the Islanders lineup Sunday night against Florida, playing his first game since November 1st. And he got an assist in the game, which is, I guess, a bonus. And quite honestly, that's his first point of the year in his 12th game of the year. But all of that is secondary. And Mike Reilly has been able to overcome a heart condition that required surgery to correct. It was only discovered because he suffered the concussion that he suffered. And, that almost could have saved his life, quite honestly. And it was just great to see him out there on the ice again. And, here's what he had to say before the game. I'm obviously excited. In the past couple of months, I was at the rink almost every day, even when the team was on the road. The last 2 weeks, it was special to be back with the guys. And, here he is back on the ice. And Patrick Roy, he was pleased. He said he's been practicing well lately and he's ready to play. I want to keep things simple. I want him to keep things simple from the start, not trying to do too much. He's a good puck mover. He skates well with the puck. These are the things I want to see him do. Resilience is a good choice of words. It would have been easy for anyone to give up, and he wants to continue to play and do well for himself. I'm happy for him. So that was very, very good. And again, this to me just goes beyond hockey. You want to see a guy overcome that condition and stay with his career. Reilly, a free agent at the end of this year, whether he'll be back with the Islanders next year or not, or whether he's able to resume his NHL career elsewhere if the Islanders do not keep him, that remains to be seen. But, he was out there in this game. He was on the ice for 14-23, played more minutes than Scott Mayfield, who was his D partner. He was a +1. He had 1 shot on goal, blocked 2 shots. And again, just great to see Mike Reilly out there on the ice. It is inspirational. And, again, it is easy at times to forget that these guys are human beings, that they have families and health issues. And, if their kid keeps them up all night, that's not easy for them. And they got to go to work the next day, just like you and me. So to see Mike Reilly out there playing well, especially considering the layoff, look, it is not going to be easy. Everydayers, we have talked about the fact that this Islanders team has a glut of defensemen. And, the injuries keep coming. That's got to be a frustrating thing with Boqvist still out, although he did skate at the morning skate Sunday in a non-contact jersey. So that at least is a little bit encouraging. It's progress, to say the least. But again, you have no Adam Boqvist. You have no Adam Pelech. Scott Perunovich is a healthy scratch. You got 9 guys for 6 spots. So how many games is Mike Reilly going to play down the stretch? It would not surprise me if, 2 or 3 guys are in 2 out of every 3 games, where if they're all healthy, guys will rotate in depending on who's playing well, who's playing poorly, what type of opponent there is. But, Mike Reilly, welcome back. Great to see you. And like I said, this just goes beyond hockey, and it's a great human story. And congratulations to Mike Reilly on his return. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And Sunday was the 65th birthday of former Islanders winger Dwayne Sutter, the Viking, Alberta native, first-round pick of the Islanders back in 1979, was a member of all 4 Islanders Stanley Cup teams, made his debut with the Isles in 79, 80, and again, had one 20-goal season for the Islanders, more of a two-way forward, a checking forward. He could put the puck in the net, 18 goals, 17 goals, 17 goals, 20 goals. But again, his physicality and his two-way game were the keys for Dwayne Sutter. His brother Brent, obviously playing in 6 Sutter brothers, playing in the NHL. Dwayne finished his NHL career with 139 goals and 342 points in 731 games after leaving the Islanders. He played 3 seasons with the Blackhawks, starting in 87-88. He also had 1,333 penalty minutes, including 214 with the Blackhawks in 88-89, had 26 goals and 58 points in 161 playoff games. In 82-83, the Islanders' last Cup year, 9 goals, 21 points in 20 playoff games. He was red hot. His best game as an Islander, how about that playoff year, April 15th, 1983, Islanders hosting the Rangers in Game 2 of their Patrick Division Final Series. Islanders up in the series 1-0. Glenn Hanlon, the goalie for the Rangers. Billy Smith, of course, the goalie for the Islanders. And with the Islanders up 1-0 after a goal by John Tonelli, our Islanders' birthday of the day, Dwayne Sutter scores on the power play. Tom Laidlaw was in the box for hooking. Tomas Janssen, the only assist. That made it 2-0 Islanders. Then Bob Bourne sets up Dwayne Sutter late in the first period, 3-0 Islanders. In the second, Brent Sutter gets a goal from Dennis Potvin and Bob Bourne. But then Dwayne Sutter closes out the scoring, completes the hat trick. Brent Sutter and Bob Bourne, the assists at 15-26. Islanders blank the Rangers 5-0. A 23 saves shutout for Billy Smith. Islanders 47 shots on goal for Dwayne Sutter. He had the hat trick. He was a +2. He had 2 penalty minutes. He had a power play goal and 5 shots on goal in this game. The hat trick, a big one. It comes in the playoffs, and it comes against the Rangers. Can't ask for too much more than that. And it gives a magic moment for Dwayne Sutter. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NHL podcast, bringing you the daily league-wide stories that matter with the local coverage you love from Locked On. Find Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You can follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, and you can follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for some instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. Everydayers, we are back tomorrow. We'll have a full preview of the Islanders game against the Pittsburgh Penguins and hopefully some injury updates as well. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and of course, let's go Islanders.